Just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 276 days until Christmas 2023. And boy, we have a lot of news to talk about today. Our friend Bespin Bulletin posted all kinds of stories this morning. It came off of the hot mic last night. And I've got Jason Ward here to talk to me about it. Jason, happy Friday to you. And I know you've got some stuff going on. Got to get the tires changed on your car. All that driving to get scoops.
It's true. They're coming to do it. I might just have to duck out and go sign in a form and come right back. So if it shouldn't be a problem.
I just a little bit. I mean, you know, taking the kids, it's part of normal car maintenance, right? Like you got to take your kids to school, you run your errands, you do your things. The tires need replaced. And it happens.
It happens.
Yeah,
you got to go. Hold on, baby. Hold it together. That's. Turns out that doesn't work. I tried it. It didn't work.
Yeah. Well, we have a ton of stories that came out of that hot mic last night. And I think they're worth talking about. And we can maybe spend the bulk of our time talking about that. But there were other things that happened earlier in the week. And this is the week news in review.
Yesterday's news. Who cares?
Some of it is. Some of it's a couple days old, or more. And so let's get these up here. You can see all these tabs.
Hey, that's my story. That's my story. That's my story, bro. On Bespin Bulletin, are you serious right now? You're showing Bespin Bulletin for my story right now on this show in the year of our Lord 2023? Whatever, sorry, Santa Claus. Guess I've been a bad boy or something. Whatever.
Exclusive report from makingstarwars.net that I'm going to copy and paste in here.
Oh, no, I guess he just writes clearer than me or something with his whilst this and his whilst that. And in Wales, it's always raining. And they filmed Willow here. Big deal. Big deal, I say. Big deal.
Let's talk about, you're talking about Willow. Yeah. It reminds me of another topic to bring up. But again, this is a little older, right? This is all the way from early in the week, the 20th, I think.
It feels like last month now.
I know.
In terms of all of the news that we've had. I was like, honestly, when I saw it, I was like, I forgot about that.
I did too. And I was just going back and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then I had to expand and keep scrolling because there's been so many stories. And this is going to the Ahsoka show. And we know in Rebels that Sabine ended up with Ezra's lightsaber. And she's had it for some time. Ezra doesn't have it. And when the show starts, that's where we are, right? Yeah. She has it, he doesn't. At some point, the two of them are in the same place together, whether she gives it back to him at that point.
That's what I say in the article. If you read the source article and not the fake Bespin Bulletin clone of it, not if you went back to the Strandcast, as opposed to the fake one. You would see that the thing about it is they have scenes together where they're fighting together I'm just kidding. You don't really need to go there.
I know.
Where they are fighting together, and she's still using the lightsaber though. She still uses it. So I don't know if at some point she's like, "Here's your sword. Here's your laser sword back. I'll use my wrist rockets." I don't know if that happens or not, but I'm going to.
Where did your story go, Jason?
I don't know. Maybe it
23rd,
blipped out.
22nd, 17, 16. We're back into February.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe it didn't get the categorization check marked on it when I did an edit or something.
Oh no, it's this little thing here that it moved it over.
Oh, okay. Weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
So there you go. A proper credit being given.
I was just kidding. I was just kidding, really.
I knew it was there, but it was like I didn't see it. Right?
Yeah.
So the internet did a weird thing to your story. Hit it. Said he's learned how to use the Force differently, and and he's using that instead of a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like he's been out in that new place for like a really, really long time. And so he's doing like Force karate, basically, is what a couple of people have now confirmed to me, that he's more martial arts based than lightsaber based, because I guess he can't get a kyber crystal out there or something.
That seems to be the case. And just to make it clear, because I saw somebody else report on your story this week, they credited you very well. I saw your logo.
Thank you, person.
It was well done retelling. But
what's the Bespin Bulletin?
No.
Okay.
No, it was another content creator.
I'm kidding.
But the speculation was, why do these other people have lightsabers then, like Shin and
yeah, I'll explain that pretty soon. But I need more sources on something.
My speculation is they took their sabers with them, right?
Yeah.
So where you go?
Yeah, they didn't give their sabers to Sabine before they went there.
See, that's easy
peasy.
That's how that happens. They're out there because they didn't give Sabine their sabers. Ezra gave her his, so he doesn't have one. There are no kyber crystals out there on materials to build a new one, and he's adapted. He's adapted without it. So that I think that covers that. So Ahsoka's coming. I had a meeting yesterday, a work meeting yesterday. Met a new dude who lives here in Ohio. Lives over in the Dayton, Ohio area. Real cool, a younger dude, and he's a big Star Wars fan. And he saw some of this Star Wars paraphernalia behind me and said, "Oh, you like Star Wars? Let's talk about Star Wars." And he started. He didn't want spoilers, but he.
What? This guy is not a cool dude. Like, I thought he said he was cool. Whatever.
He said he was excited for this Ahsoka series, and he was speculating about a few things. And I think the Ahsoka series has people really excited, and the more we hear about it, the more excited we become. And this is great.
See, I'm curious about it. I kind of feel like in the bubble, the answer is yes, but I think they're going to have to work. This isn't exactly an Andor issue because they're going to have lightsabers and zip zaps and zooms and stuff to like really put in out there. But if they pull this, everything's a big secret mystery and we're not going to show you anything because you want it, I think they'll be messing up. They'll be messing up big time on their marketing for this one.
Yeah.
This is the one where they need to, because like if you just go to somebody at the grocery store and they go, "I like your Star Wars shirt. Is there?" and you start talking to them for a second about it, and you mention Ahsoka, they won't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
They'll have no idea.
I can say the exact same thing happened because the dude I was talking to, he's loving The Mandalorian. He's loving the Bad Batch. He's watched Rebels and the Clone Wars. He's current on things. He just doesn't hang out on YouTube all day. He's got like a real job where he does things in a family. He's got kids and church and a life. He's not just He's just not spending his day on YouTube. So,
Yeah.
Which is good, right? That's a healthy place to be.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I don't understand that third episode. Why do we spend so much time on Coruscant? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
He just didn't, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're not following spoilers, for the most part, you probably don't. I think.
Yeah. And so without spoiling it for him, I was explaining, and also if you're not taking in some of the novels, right? So if you've read Aftermath and some of the books with Leia, right, Princess of Alderaan, and those kind of things, you don't get the context. And this ties into what we're going to talk about more of.
That's hundreds of thousands of people who read that book.
Right.
At most.
Yes.
And it's going to be millions of people who will see these shows or could see the shows.
Exactly.
And
so that's what I was trying to.
I just hope they don't go in arrogant. You know, I hope they're giving, because most people, never saw Clone Wars. Most people never saw Rebels. Most people won't watch Clone Wars and they won't watch Rebels, but they could sell a live action lightsabery show to them. And so they got some heavy lifting to do if they're not arrogant. And really I've seen both from them. We've seen them do that before, living in the bubble, living in the Twitter bubble where everybody loves them or everybody hates them. And it's just like, no, it's not on this one. I got my fingers crossed.
Living within the lore bubble, right? So I know these things are going on, and I see them. It's like, oh, I know what that rock is. I know what this is, right? Whatever. A lot of people don't, and that story element, I told him it's serving to set the foundation for future stuff, for the Ahsoka show. Like, what's going on in the Ahsoka show when things happen? What's going on with the New Republic?
Right.
And it gives us some insight into, and we haven't even seen a lot of this yet either. We just know of it because, again, we're kind of in the bubble. We're kind of in the lore bubble. Mon Mothma is trying to demilitarize the New Republic. She's trying to take things apart and get rid of it. We saw that in this episode, right? They were demilitarized. They were taking these destroyers, perfectly good destroyers. You can blow lots of things up with them. She's like, yeah, that's the point. Let's get rid of it. And they're like,
well, her idea is that she wants every system to make their own military with their own army who protects themselves. So it's more like a state system with each state having its own military. So, Arizona can't invade California because California has its own military and Arizona has its own military. But if Texas tries to go and invade Arizona, California and Arizona are going to team up and stop it. Like that's where I think the strategy is that she has planned.
Right.
But then we see what happens when you have a military industrial complex that's like has completely different plans for everything, like and stuff like that, and so the elites and stuff.
They've got some world building to do is sort of the point, right?
Yeah.
So that episode, we spent a lot of time on Coruscant. We're doing some world building that isn't just specific to Mandalorian season 3.
Oh no, it goes even to the sequel trilogy. It's all over. It was important.
There's a lot of
it tells you a lot.
Yeah, like heavy lifting. They've got a lot of that to do. A lot.
And I'm not. I don't know if it was the right way to do it. Yeah. I think that's up for criticism fairly, but I also think that like a lot of people don't want to do any heavy thinking about things. So if it doesn't say, "Oh wow, I'm working on Palpatine's clone," then they go like, "Oh, what?" And then they like to play in that they like to play the ambiguity game where it's ambiguous, therefore it's stupid, and I don't understand it, and they're dumb. And but that's just like the hot take. Like in people,
exactly. And Rob is
Rob. Rob.
He's spot on. No. I listen to your show.
No, don't listen to Rob.
I know
get him mods. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
It's hurtful, right? It's painful to have to say it. It really just kind of sets a sour pit in my stomach. But they have to say, Rob's right. I'm like, it's terrible. But he is. He's sort of on point where it's like you got to do all this other stuff, and it's they're in a spot, right? Like if they don't tell it, then they have to keep their story contained to just their story, and then people ask these other questions. And as you said, a lot of people don't want to think too analytical about it. But then again, if you think too analytical about it, then other things don't make sense. You end up with this great big, like, why is the kid spit up from that dinosaur and he's perfectly dry? How long has he been in that belly of that dinosaur? Like, there's so many questions if you start to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
If they every time they chase that dinosaur, it gets away. Then why aren't you shooting at the dinosaur when it's getting away? Because you might hit the kid. Well, what happens if you don't hit the dinosaur? I mean, if you don't do anything, then what happens to the kid? Right? You're not going to get there. The kid's going to be gone. So, I mean, at least take a shot. There's all kinds of things you can start to think about if you think analytical about it. If you don't, then some of this other stuff doesn't make sense, and it just it could be confounding.
Jediah says, I think they said you won't have to watch Rebels to know what's going on. And that is definitely like how it should be. And I agree with that based off of everything that I think I know. Like I even talked about how there's this other part where I think we get the epilogue to Rebels in the show in live action. Like we'll see those scenes play out. But what I'm trying to say is when you have a trailer and if your big boom at the end is Chopper rolling into frame, that's going to make us go, oh, Chopper. But the person at the supermarket's going to see Chopper and they're going to be like, an orange robot.
Right.
Why do I care about an orange robot? And so they have to, I'm hoping they set up like an intriguing thing where like, it's like, you know, my friend went missing 10 years ago. And like he's out in this place no one's ever been before. And then we see like stuff where we're like, ooh, how are they gonna find him? Like I hope that if there's like it's actually intriguing and not just like, nope, we're not showing you Ezra Bridger until episode 4. Don't even talk about it. And if that's their plan, I think they are screwing up. I think that will be a mistake. It's like go see Saving Private Ryan, but don't even mention Ryan. It's just called Saving Private. You know what I mean? You're just like, what? That's what it would be, kind of, you know. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, we're Saving Private Ryan, but you're from another universe. You have no idea what this war is. You have no context, right? Why are they fighting? What's going on? Oh, don't worry about it, right? Or if you have
let it go.
If you have to spend half the show just kind of putting in context before you ever get to the Saving Private Ryan part, you know,
right?
Then that's a lot of work to do, and that's kind of the predicament Star Wars has found itself in. That they've got this world building that's going on outside of the Mandalorian. It's taking place lots of other content, books, comics. You name it. Right?
Yeah.
Animated like kids shows.
In the series, Sabine is going to have some problems and things, and that's how we're going to get like most of the Rebels stuff told to us. Anything that you needed to know through Rebels that pertains to the story, you're going to hear through like Sabine's post-war issues. But I think, and I don't know for certain, there's always a chance we have like a concurrent B story of Ezra out there in the, you know, in that new place doing stuff. But if it doesn't go that way, I'm thinking we don't see anything about Ezra until like the 4th or 5th episode of 8. So
yeah, it's. I appreciate the world building, but I understand the issues. Right.
Yeah, but it's like if these were, you know, like this is chapter 20 of Mando. If these are books, if you look at it like a book, that kind of stuff is fine. But when you go week to week and you're watching it week to week, that's when it's annoying. That's when people lose their stuff over it. But if you were to go and like you just binge watch the whole thing, or you sat down to watch the whole season, it's completely fine. It's only in that 1 week that it's super like. Well, instead they're getting all of the exposition out of the way for all the other stuff in one moment, and they're attempting to do it through an intriguing narrative. Now, was it intriguing? Did it succeed? That's completely up to the eye of the beholder, I guess.
Yeah.
But so in a way, the methodology isn't exactly insane.
No,
but it might be ineffectual, but I don't think it's like, oh, what's this Favreau doing this time? I don't think it's that like nuts.
Yeah.
But it does put a lot of faith that we're going to pull this off before if they don't pull it off, then it becomes like, well, okay, it's a little silly, but it's like Baymax was saying before. It's just like Egg Lady from last season. On the week to week, Egg Lady's like, what is this? But now in retrospect, Egg Lady's fine. And it's fine in the course of the larger narrative of the season, how we will always consume it from here on out after that 6 days that followed in the history of its existence was 6 days where that was kind of annoying.
Well,
not a big deal.
Think about so my concern starts to go, and where we're going to be talking about, we still got all these other stories to talk about, but is Lucasfilm in trouble, right? That's sort of the big thing, right? Have they set themselves in a bad place? Are Mandalorian's viewership numbers down because they put Grogu in?
They're not down. Why do we keep saying that? Why do we keep saying that and pushing the narrative? The Mandalorian's viewership is up.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, it grew, and then they're like, oh, well, I see Baby Yoda at Target. Therefore, Baby Yoda is a legacy character that's as big as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Boba Fett. It's like, no, actually, he's not. Actually, that's just some shit you made up based off of your empirical evidence. That is your personal idea that you just made up. That's not true. Mandalorian season 3 is bigger than Mandalorian season 2. Yes. That's good. And then, but Boba Fett was bigger than Mandalorian 1 and 2. So once again, like, I don't know, when we go on Marvel shows, do we consider every Marvel show to be like, well, Loki wasn't as big as WandaVision, therefore Loki's a failure, or whatever it happens to be. I don't know the numbers. I don't care. But it's silliness. It gets pushed around, and it's people who are even looking at the metrics for social media impressions on stuff too.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, and that's some of the stuff is discussable, and some of it's not. Yeah, so if you have one where, like, it turns out Jango Fett's back and he never died, then that's going to have a big social media, like, whoa, everybody's talking about it, but it might have had less viewers than the opening of the so on some of those numbers, depending on what source they use, it's completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
And
it is.
This is what it is.
And I get the context of it, but Darth Chaco did a video on it. It was pretty good too. Like, Mando 1 to Mando 2 went up. Mando 2 to Mando 3. Episode 1 went up. So more people are watching Mandalorian now than have ever watched Mandalorian before. So put that in context. And once we start to get the full scope of the picture, right? We got one little sliver of a picture. People who are subscribed to a certain service only in the United States, this big, right? Once that opens up, we start to get the full viewership numbers. That's going to tell the full picture, and we can make a little more educated discussion on it. But it's still the narrative, right? And so is the streaming audience mature enough to be able to handle getting some Ohio State, some universe world building in episode 3 of season 3 of Mandalorian that affects how you understand what's going on at the midway point in Ahsoka, or some other series that happens after that, right?
Yeah, I think that Ahsoka and this episode of Mando, that one from last week, that is, are assimilating Rangers of the New Republic content, story beats from Rangers, and then telling it that way now. That's what I think's going on here.
Yeah.
Too.
I'll take Jediah's question, and we got to get to these other stories. In the leak of Bo possibly fighting Axe, that leak came because we saw some outside like practicing, and we see we see Katie Sackhoff doing some combat with who looks like the
Axe Wolves. Yeah.
Right?
That park is like 2 miles from my house. It's ridiculous. I could get there making 2 turns. I was like, man, I didn't know it was El Dorado Park.
And yet you still have to get your tires replaced on your car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the way it is.
That week I was going down to the other set and they were just in my backyard.
So that's where it comes from. We saw this practicing outside. It wasn't like being filmed. It's not like let's go, but they're practicing. We don't know if they were just kind of practicing some martial arts or if they were practicing.
No, they were doing choreography for a scene.
Yeah,
They weren't just randomly doing taekwondo in their Mando outfits. And so and when she and they might have been, we don't know if they were practicing. We don't know. Actually, that would be an assumption.
Okay.
But the thing about it is she's not wearing her helmet for any of the stuff that the person who was there saw that day. So I think it tells us that she does take the helmet off. My theory is that she ends up going back to get her team at some point, or picks them up, or gets in. She has to beat the crap out of them for them to submit and go back and do what they're supposed to do.
Well,
that's a theory.
I was listening to Thor Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna have to cite sources. He'd be a great channel if he could do that.
Well, just he and his wife is Thor Skywalker Plus.
Oh, there's 2 of them. They could both be citing sources. That would be interesting.
They're very interesting.
They could team up. One could cite the source and one could talk.
The 2 of them together are very entertaining to listen to. They bounce off each other very well. Mm-hmm. But in part of their discussion, they're talking about our boy Paz Vizsla, right? Big bull.
See how you just cited him right there? That was cool. That's really it's a nice courtesy to give.
It is.
All right, go on.
I even though you were just hazing me, I even went and pulled up the makingstarwars.net story. So I had extra time to find it. So I could get Jason Ward to quit, whining.
Hey man, you got to fight for what's yours in this world. They'll just take it.
I understand.
Thor
but
Skywalker.
Anyway, they were talking about how the voice for Paz Vizsla has changed. It's no longer Jon Favreau voicing Paz Vizsla.
Oh, really?
The voice of Paz Vizsla is actually the dude who's in the suit portraying Paz Vizsla. So, why would you change the voice of somebody to the person who's actually in the suit when you don't need to? Maybe you're going to see the dude's face sometime. He's going to be talking without a helmet.
Right. I got bad news.
Yeah.
I got bad news, Making Star Wars fans. My daughter is sick and I have to go pick her up from school.
Dang.
I had sick boy all week and I thought I was going to make it. I thought she was going to be fine. Before school, she said, my taste is a little bit weird. She's like, food tastes different. And I was just I was like, are you getting sick? She's like, no. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, So,
bummer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jason.
I got to go pick her up. I apologize. I will try to, if it goes smooth and I just come back and she just goes to bed, I'll try to jump back on if you're still going.
Okay. I'll watch for you. I'll watch for you. Thanks.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all right. Thanks. So the question says, is it because Axe is mad at Bo for being a hypocrite joining the cult? Well, Axe Wolves is certainly part of the Night Owls that Bo was leader of. And when we picked up in this episode, we see that she's alone in her castle. They're off running, doing other things. So could it be that Axe is mad at her? It absolutely could be. The other thing to speculate is just, did you see the beginning of the last episode when they're on the beach and they're training and they're fighting and knocking each other down and doing all these things? It very well could be training, right? They could be doing training and it's part of some training sequence and they're talking, right? There might be some dialogue going on there, exposition for the story. So either could be the case, right? We could have a case where, we're not getting along. We have to duke it out and you have to prove that you should be our leader. or they're just doing some training, right? So, Santa, you're choppy. Uh-oh. I can't do too much about that. I don't have my main computer, and I only have the webcam mic. Hopefully that fixes it. Let's see. Is everybody having the problem? I see Mike says he refreshed it. Mike, am I still choppy with after the refresh? Am I still choppy or no? Let me know. Maybe it's better. Let me close this window and we'll get to the next story. The next story. Yep, everyone refresh. Now it's okay. Saber Smith says it's okay. Okay, thank you. Good now after refresh. Okay, all good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so Bespin Bulletin. The story, we have the director, the Daniels from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Let me ask you guys, have you seen that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once? It's a weird movie. We watched it last weekend, and I got to be honest, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of it. I did not enjoy it. My wife and I watched it, and we were like, what is this? Not good. And it didn't get better. There's some entertaining parts of it. Some parts are funny for sure, but did not care for the movie. But I'm also not a big fan of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And to me, it's similar in style to that. Mike Porter, he didn't like it either. Okay, so we're not alone. Maybe we're just grumpy old men, Mike. I don't know. Matt says it is a little bit weird for sure. Yeah. So, but anyhow, these directors that coming right off of winning like all of the awards there are to win, they are going to be directing some of the Skeleton Crew. Right? They're helming an episode, so don't get the idea that they're taking over. But they're helming an episode of the Skeleton Crew. They're coming off of this Academy Awards, like they won everything, and 7 wins, including Best Picture. They also did Swiss Army Man, a television network, Legion, and Aquafina is Nora from Queens, as well as the popular music video Turned Down for What by DJ Snake and Lil Jon. So they're a hot commodity. We've seen this before. We've seen these hot directors picked up before, but never make it through the finish line with their movies. And we're going to talk about that a good bit as well. There are so many folks that have been really big, right? Lord and Miller. We had tons of directors. Patty Jenkins, even coming off of Wonder Woman, was really popular. She let Cleopatra go to work on the Star Wars movie, and then Wonder Woman 2 comes out, and the shine comes off of her star, and there you have it. Then all of a sudden, not so popular. These guys right now are hot commodities. They did an episode of the Skeleton Crew, and one thing that I've heard from these guys, right, Bespin Bulletin and Jason Ward, is Skeleton Crew is going to be like the old Amblin Entertainment kind of shows. It's not going to be Mandalorian kind of feel to it. It's going to be closer to Goonies kind of feel to it. And some of it may be quite silly. Some of it may be quite juvenile. And when you see folks like these guys attached to it, right? And if you've seen this movie, you may be able to put those pieces together, right? It's a little odd. It's a little juvenile. It's a little wacky, and that's probably what you're gonna. It's probably what you're gonna get. Yeah. tired Kathy and Lucasfilm hiring hot directors and firing them at the end of the day. It looks like these guys are going to get their episode done, but I'm just trying to put these pieces together for you so that you kind of have an expectation when Skeleton Crew comes out. From what I'm hearing from these guys, it's not going to be Mandalorian kind of gravitas, right? It's going to be closer to the Goonies. It's going to have some silliness. It's going to be juvenile in many ways. And when you see these guys and you've seen that movie, you kind of get an idea, right? To move on to the discussion, yes, Damon Lindelof. We've talked about this. This is all the content creators. Everybody knows this. Damon Lindelof's movie. They were writing the scripts for it. Now these are the writers, not the directors, but the writers. And we've got some follow-up news from Bespin Bulletin today on that. And let me see if I can. Yeah, right here it is. And this came off of the hot mic last night. Says the new rumor suggests Damon Lindelof's Star Wars script was not good. Well, some things. Damon Lindelof's a big Star Wars fan, right? He talked about how much he loved the franchise, and that if it's not going to be top scale, maybe he shouldn't be doing it. There seems to be maybe a little more to the story, though. He seems to be taking kind of the high road. Like, I couldn't put together a script worthy of Star Wars, so I stepped away. We mutual decision, so I stepped away. Well, seems like there's more to the story, and this is again all your trigger sites where people get really worked up and they like to yell and bang the table and get upset. You go watch them. They'll do that. They're going to do it again. Brace yourselves. It's coming again. We will get another wave of this from the typical content creators that get kind of heated over this stuff. It says, and this is Bespin Bulletin again. He's reporting from the hot mic, last night's hot mic episode, and said that Jeff Schneider, he broke the departure story. He said he and John Roca were talking, and this is what he said. The first thing I heard, it is from a very good source. So this is rumor. This is Jeff Schneider doesn't have this direct. He's getting it secondhand, right? But it's from a very good source that the first draft of Lindelof's script was not good. If it was good, then they'd find ways to work it out. So first he heard the draft wasn't good, but then they said it might be incentivized to say that. Why would he be incentivized to say that Lindelof's script was not good? Let that sink in. We'll keep reading. Anyway, I heard that Lindelof and Britt Gibson did not know that Charmin Obaid Chinoy was being hired. This begins some of the rift that had happened. So Lindelof and Britt Gibson are writing the script. What they say in here is that Kathleen Kennedy had chose Charmin Obaid Chinoy to direct the film without consulting Lindelof and Gibson. Says that Kathy makes some of these decisions in a vacuum without consulting. That's says you'd say it's all right. She runs a studio, but Lindelof isn't the same staff writer you picked at some show to come and write Star Wars. He's a well-known creator with a record of success. So there should be some respect paid here, and it seems like, at least according to his source, and again, this is coming off of the hot mic last night. It says Kathleen Kennedy didn't care about that and hired who she wanted. There were frictions between the writer and the director, which is what led to them, Lindelof and Gibson, walking off the project. So why did they say that the script wasn't good and that there was no incentive to rewrite it? Well, because these guys had a little rift with Kathy Kennedy because she hired the director without consulting with them. Just said, "Hey guys, here's your director. Deal with it." They got upset with that. A little Hollywood drama happens, and they're like, "You know what? Never mind." So they submitted what they had, and that was it. Not willing to work with Sinead, what's it, Charmin Obaid Chinoy, not wanting to work with her, just said, "Fine, you guys do your thing." And hey, you're
Daddy's
back.
house.
You're back.
No,
How's she doing?
she's okay. She has a headache, she says, and a sore throat. So, but she seems okay. I gave her some TV, gave her some water. She's content. So
Okay.
yeah,
All
we're
right.
good.
So we started talking about the Damon Lindelof leaving earlier in the week, and then we learned there's a new director. But last night on the hot mic, we learned a little more context for perhaps why Lindelof and his co-writer Britt Gibson left. Right?
Yeah,
And
some of that doesn't really track for us. Like the fact that like she was on it for 7 or 8 months before this happened. So how do you really attribute friction between them and him leaving with her being on the project for 8 months while it was probably being discussed, drafted, and then written? Right? That
yeah,
doesn't really go like what Kathleen Kennedy's just jumping over, Lindelof, and he's like, "What? I'm out." If it was an issue, I think he would have walked before then. So and she's not the executive producer, so there's no world where Lindelof would have ever have hired his director or a director or anything like that. He wasn't executive producing it. So I thought everything. I mean, I liked that show. Don't get me wrong, but that was the thing where we were like a bit like that doesn't really make sense.
well, I'll say this. I tweeted this some time ago. I was not into high school drama when I was in high school drama. Uh, like,
Mm-hmm.
like I really didn't care about who was dating who or who said something mean about somebody's best friend, and now we're going to be, boycotting this person because they made my friend mad. And
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't like. I didn't care about it then. I raised two girls. Both of them cared about it a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
heard about it every day. Oh, you're not going to believe what happened. I'm like, I just don't care. I don't care. Most of us, when we grow up and become like full developed brained adults, don't care about that nonsense.
Yeah.
We're professionals. We have jobs. And especially if your professional job is in writing, not directing, and you're hired by a studio, and that studio says, "Hey, here's your director." As a professional, you're not like, "You didn't ask me.
Yeah.
I'm out." Right?
Yeah, and what they were presenting though, I think wasn't out of the ordinary necessarily or out of the question for like normal Hollywood. If he was just picking up a movie for some studio and they were just kind of like going forward with it, he's a big guy in the industry.
Sure.
But when you get onto the Lucasfilm side of things, and working with Kathleen Kennedy, compared to Kathleen Kennedy, he's an ant. You know what I mean? In Hollywood. And so I don't believe he went in there with that attitude. I think he knows what time it is at Lucasfilm. He's had a lot of friends who've made films. JJ made several films for them. He knew what to expect. He knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
He knows what time it was. So that's but once again, that's like harping. That's like on a little thing that they said, and they probably did hear that. It probably was presented from somebody in Hollywood that way to him, in which he just relayed. But what I'm saying is the original source for it, I don't buy it. I don't buy that aspect of it.
Yeah. Dale, rather than be an adult and trust someone that's been in the business since before they were in diapers, throw a fit. Yeah. Temper tantrum, high school drama.
And he's been in the business for even at that for about what, early 2000s. He's been prolific since the early 2000s. He knows what time it is.
Yeah.
This isn't his first rodeo at all.
So the question is, will this movie ever see the light of day? Will his movie ever see the light of day?
Yes.
Do you think?
What did I bring? I was, well, he put it out first, and then like, what is the first thing I said to you about this on this show? I said the movie's coming out, hell or high water. That's what my Disney sources are saying. It's going to happen. And so, but here's the thing. Have you talked about the other writer yet?
We're getting ready to.
Because I think I got it figured out, by the way.
So we know, like, there was, before Rise of Skywalker, there was what, Duel of the Fates or whatever, right? What was that?
Yeah, there was a rough draft and 2 drafts by Colin Trevorrow.
And the name of that was what?
Was Duel of the Fates. Yeah,
Duel of the Fates. I was making sure because I know, like, I my brain, right, not reliable.
No,
Duel of the Fates.
I mean, it's alternate Star Wars, man. You're okay to forget that one.
So Duel of the Fates, like, a lot of people have seen that story outline. People have made like animations off of it and kind of dressed it up.
People read the first draft. The first draft of it leaked.
And then they get really excited, like, oh, that would have been better than this. Well, maybe not. So the question is,
maybe not.
Will Lindelof's movie ever get leaked?
Well,
and will it be reflected? Will it have anything in common with what Stephen Knight delivers?
Okay, so let's answer that, but let's go into the Stephen Knight story that Stephen Knight's picked up writing the next draft. But here is the thing. I don't know. I showed it to him yesterday. I don't know if he included it, if it hit home for him or not. But this is the most telling bit for me. Where did it go? Here it is. Discussing film. This is from yesterday. This came out yesterday. A remake of Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo is in the works. Stephen Knight is writing the script. Robert Downey Jr. is eyeing to star in the lead role. So this isn't a movie that's like a billion years away. This is something that they intend to come out soon, relatively soon. Robert Downey Jr. is looking to sign on to it. That's if the information's accurate. So what that tells me, Stephen Knight is not intended to be the final writer. Stephen Knight was brought aboard once they had some sort of inkling that they were not going to go with Lindelof as the writer for the whole time, or he was burned out already, or whatever happened to be, and they brought him in to keep the cogs turning. So writer strike's coming in May.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, you hire Stephen Knight, who is prolific. He has like 30 things on his plate right now. He's more busy than Taika. So it's ridiculous. And to me, that says Stephen Knight said, yep, I could do a draft before the writer's strike. So then they're going to have 2 drafts, a revision of the original thing. He's going to touch it up, polish it up. Then they're going to hire, in this point right now, the final writer who will write the 3rd and the 4th shooting script. And that person won't be able to write, but they will be able to be announced at Star Wars Celebration. So this is just a theory right now. This is what I'm digging on at the moment. Yeah. I think that person gets hired, and that's who they announce as the writer, because usually the final writer gets credit. So that will be the final writer most likely.
Does Stephen take Damon's script and move it forward, or does he just start with a white board?
No. See, here's the thing is, like, based off of what we think we know, if what we generally know is true, and I think most of it is generally in the ballpark of true or accurate. They came up with an idea before Lindelof even wrote the script. They were like storyboarding ideas. They were talking about it. They were laying it out. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, but what I think happened was they talked about what this movie was going to be. They put it all together. They built it up. They came up, and then he goes to write it. Lindelof brings the script back, and they're like, well, yeah, that's what we talked about. But did this script elevate what we talked about?
I see.
And the answer is not really. This is just kind of what we talked about. It didn't really come up. And so they're like, but that's what they were hoping for, and that didn't happen. And they're like, and he's like, well, that's kind of my dad. I think you should go with somebody else then. I think you should have somebody else do it. I'm going to move on. And they're like, yeah, because he's like, because that's what I give to it. That's what I brought to the table. They're like, yeah. So and I think that they already kind of probably knew that was might be happening. And then they had Stephen Knight ready to go. And so Stephen Knight's likely, but we could only guess what the issue was. Was it a structural issue? Was it dialogue? Was it character? Was it all of it? But the whole thing is like when they go like they're also like in the hot mic were like, it was bad. Well, the thing about it is it was rejected. So something was bad. That goes without saying. For sure, something wasn't a home run for them, right? Or they would have been like, please don't leave, stay, keep going. Right. And Mr. Lindy, and he didn't. So something was off. But so you can say inherently it's bad, but it's like the way that it's presented sort of in that showman way on a chat show. It's like, oh, it was bad, but it's like, but there was no specific there was nothing specific about what was bad. Well, like I said, structure. Was it the dialogue? Was it the character? Was it like, what was it? So we could only guess what Stephen Knight is going to go in there and do. And depending on how, the sky is falling, you want to be about it. It could be a lot. It could be a little, but I just don't think you really get Damon Lindelof. I think Damon Lindelof writing your first bad draft of a script is a pretty good place to be in, generally speaking, compared to most things in Hollywood. Like that's a good, really, I mean, that's like, oh yeah, I had, Keith Richards come in and lay down my temp guitars. That's a good place to start, even though it's only a temp guitar.
Yeah. So let's think about it. So this is what I'm thinking of. And you kind of mentioned this before with like Rogue One, I think.
Yes.
Think of it more as a relay race, right? Where you got the baton, somebody takes off and
the data tapes to the Death Star.
Yeah. Well, right. So who is your lead off leg?
Yeah.
Right.
We go to Gary Whitta, Scott Z. Burns, Christopher McQuarrie.
Yeah.
Tony Gilroy.
Do they put you out in front, and so that your middle leg runner can carry you to a good place to be finishing, or do you have makeup room to do? Right. Are you running in last place, and you're really counting on your anchor leg to bring it home? Right. So in this case, to your point, you got a very good start, right? So your leadoff guy put you in really good place. We're handing it off to another superstar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Knight, who's going to carry it the next leg.
Yeah.
And he is going to then toss the baton off. At that point, hopefully you have a very strong lead and you can make it through the finish without any stumbles, right?
Right.
And you end up with a very good movie that is then delivered to the theaters.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that what we're seeing right now is feeling a lot like Rogue One. That's why I use that analogy. That's what I think that's what I will not be surprised if we end up going, wow, that had a lot of similarities to how Rogue One was developed.
Well, the way this reads in most of the Twitter sphere and stuff is that it's they have somebody to run the race, and that person falls flat on their face, and so then they have to go get somebody else. Mm-hmm. They scramble around, they find somebody, they put them in the race. That person fumbles.
Yeah.
And falls flat on their face.
But it's not even, it's not falling on your face. It's literally just like based off of what he has on his plate. I don't think they said, hey, Stephen Knight, will you come and write, 3 more drafts of the script? I just don't see how that could be their like deal with him where he could do this. I think he's just on for a draft. Like that's my reading of it is he's a one and done guy, and it's going to be somebody else that it goes to after that. And that's not bad because like the thing is like people like that, especially Americans, like American individualism. We like the person who comes in by themselves, writes it and directs it. George Lucas ends up in the freaking hospital for it. If somebody had George Lucas's time making one of these, they would definitely be removed from the picture. in the current era. If George Lucas never created Star Wars and was hired onto this and was in the hospital for chest pains from the movie, they'd probably be like, we're gonna Tony Gilroy this one. Thank you. Like that's what would happen. We don't do that. They don't do that to people if they don't have to. And I don't think they would. So I think, yeah. So I'm curious if we hear a different person announce that celebration, if they even hit it. They may not even touch who's writing it. They may just be like, this is the movie and it's being directed by Chinoy, or something like that. Obeyed Chinoy.
Stephen Knight, Shyamalan, right?
And like Bespin said, Knight could be announced that celebration and see it through.
Yeah,
it's completely possible. That's my theory. And a lot of times I hear people in the Star Wars fandom not understanding the difference between theory and speculation.
Right.
And I'm even going to say this is speculation on my part, not even theory, because theory would be like grounded where I got something that says like it's likely that's what's happening. I don't even have that. So
it also might be, just to be fair, couched with a bit of optimism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
no, like I said, the movie's going to come out. It's going to happen. You guys are going to get a Star Wars movie. The whole question is it going to be a good Star Wars movie? Is it going to come together and work and stuff? I don't know.
Yeah. Dale,
hold on one second. I have to.
Okay. We've got a little ways to go yet, Dale. So let me we got to get through all these tabs. So we're gonna move on to the next story, because we're gonna come back to what we were just talking about in just a moment, because there's another story in here that's been released that we need to discuss, and just to get through the others, we're up to the 21st. So the Tuesday, it says Andor filming at the City of Arts and Science, Valencia. And Benjamin Bratton in the series. So in early February, it was reported by both Las Provenas and Perdidos and Hoth. Perdidos and Hoth. Don't know how you say that. That the second season of Andor was gearing up to film.
Perdidos and Hoth.
Yeah, I like it. Located in Spain. Little to no details about the shoot, but fans began speculating it was Rogue One spinoff, purely based on the futuristic design. However, today it's been revealed, thanks to various set pictures, that Andor Season 2 is currently filming at Valencia's City of Arts and Science. So it is very futuristic looking building. And like we saw before where they did the thing at McLaren or whatever, right? Was it McLaren?
Yeah, that's the racetrack, the race place.
Yeah, the race place.
Yeah, we'll call it the race place.
The race car
racing place, not the race place. That sounds like it's like a weird thing. But yeah, the racing place. Yeah. Oh, and can I ruin the show one with one last point? Bespin asked, "Will it be Rogue One or Rise of Skywalker?" J.J. Abrams arrogantly thought he could go in and basically start from scratch, with just pulling in from a basic outline, a premise of the Finn backstory, and did not have enough time. So I think it will be more of a Rogue One, but once again, will it be good like Rogue One? But I don't think we're in Rise of Skywalker territory unless he is starting from scratch, which I think me and Bespin both agree on, that this was sort of a film that was pitched with an idea, a concept, and moved from there into development for a series. Therefore, not Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One for sure.
Excellent. I like it. Very good. The City of Arts and Science has previously been used for Tomorrowland, which was written by Damon Lindelof.
Ooh, that one sucked.
Who recently exited Star Wars. The location's also been used for Westworld and Brave New World.
I want one of those robots.
I
want one of those robots.
I'd
be like, this is my new girlfriend. She's a robot.
I'm gonna
name her C3PO. Sorry. I did it. Okay, I went there.
Details on the shoot are still fairly sparse, but the production is expected to be in Valencia for around 2 months. Production venturing into the Spanish city earlier this week. Don't know what location is being used, or what is being used for in Star Wars. Like what town, what city? but it could be Chandrilla, the home of Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma. Could be where the wedding's taking place, for all we know.
O'Reilly.
No, I've heard nothing of substance. It's fun to speculate. Based on it does bear a resemblance to Chandrilla, given how high the class extras look at Valencia shoot. Possible it's the upper echelon of Chandrillan citizens. And there's a picture of Chandrilla from comic, right? In addition to filming in Valencia, various people have spotted Benjamin Bratt alongside Andor production members. And so they posted an image of Bratt and Metz. Right there it is in a group photo. Perhaps merely coincidence that he's been hanging around Andor production members, or maybe he's actually in it.
Other pictures have come out now with him with the Rogue or with the Andor crew. If he's not in it, he's a weird groupie, and I don't think he is. So I think it's like 99.9% almost confirmed that he's in it. Like it's unless like his like wife is the director of an episode or something like that. You know what I mean? Like something strange, some family member is on board. You know, I think he's in it. Like I would bet on it right now.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, we bring him in to bring it up now. That's a name that I've not seen attached to Star Wars to date, but
you know, there was a time when that guy would have been the guy. Kathleen Kennedy is the one who built his career. She's the one who got him his first movie. I mean, Sixth Sense. That's a Kathleen Kennedy joint, man. And like, yeah, and she was his biggest like champion or whatever. And there was even a time when he was given Indiana Jones.
Wow.
Yeah, but he couldn't. It didn't work. So
it says earlier. Oh, wait, where's the ticker? I don't have the ticker on there. We should be showing our Wall of Fame members from episode 14 of the Bad Batch. So anyway, earlier this week it was reported that Andor will be filming at the Castel de Zativa. Castel.
That is actually I believe Spanish for Chewbacca of the sky. That's a fun fact. I'm very fluent in Latin languages. Chewbacca of the sky.
So it says visitors will not be able to visit the location from the 2nd of April until the 17th. So about 2 weeks.
So if you go, don't say you're a visitor, say you live there, and they'll let you right in.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's expected to film. Andor is expected to film wrap filming in August, ahead of the latter half of 2024. Second season is the final. Blah blah blah. Right. So this is another interesting location. I saw our friend Baymax suggest maybe it's that island that the Bad Batch have been hanging out on. But there's no water around this place. Of course, they could see
Tony
water.
Gilroy's like, oh, that Bad Batch. I gotta somehow incorporate that into Andor season 2. Definitely. That was mean. Maybe I was a little mean to Raymax, but I'm gonna say
$5 from Nerd Mafia. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Says, will Chewbacca make an appearance in the movie? And can we hear an impression for good measure? Jason is the immaculate.
Yeah.
Chewbacca.
Well, I just gave him the answer. That Chewbacca of the sky, and in this part of the story, he's a little bit younger, So his voice is like, woof! It's more like that. So yeah. Do me a favor though, don't sound clip that and share it because it'll start to get the channel flagged from Lucasfilm as being a soundbite that was stolen. So make sure you don't do that.
It was indistinguishable from the movie version of Chewbacca.
It's pretty much perfect. I've been crafting it for most of my life.
It is pretty much perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to have thick vocal cords that you've really like honed in to be able to pull it off. So thank you for recognizing that.
Exactly. See, Nerd Mafia. Oh, perfect. See, Spot on. HBO's House of Dragon director Gita, not Greta.
No, not Greta. Not the dancer from Jabba's palace. Is that her name? Greta? the Greedo from Jedi Rocks? No,
not Greta.
no.
Not Gerda, but Gita. Yeah, Gita.
Is it? I think it's Is it Gita or Jita? I don't know.
I know, but she directed a Star Wars, Ahsoka. Well, House of Dragon. That's a big deal, right? So Jason Ward, EIC, he said last night a dragon was stealing children, and but now we've got somebody who directed dragons, directing Ahsoka.
That was Baymax. That was Baymax, by the way. Who said that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it says she directed an episode of the first season of Ahsoka. A couple points there. It's an episode, not the series, and first season, which we believe there'll be more than one, right?
Right.
So, why is your font so small, Jason Ward?
I'm sorry. I'll make it bigger next time.
Yeah, go to look now. If we go over to Bespin, look, I can read Bespin.
Yeah.
I go to.
Well, he's overcompensating. I don't have to.
Oh, okay. That's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty exciting that she's directing an episode, right?
Yeah. It is. And the thing that I kind of get into, and it was really kind of just an excuse to get into it, to be honest with you. But like a couple of people have now told me that like the Ahsoka series is sort of two parts, sort of a part one and a part two. And part one is sort of like Ahsoka in the Republic, the New Republic. Part two is Ahsoka going after Ezra Bridger in that new place, and there's sort of a time jump in here. So I'll elaborate on that a little bit more in the future, but I need some things I've heard. Some things I've heard from multiple people. Some things I've only heard from one person. I want more. And but basically, there's going to be sort of there's a time jump in the middle there. And so Patel in House of Dragons does like about a 6-year time jump. Really, like I was really impressed with it because there's just all these like subtle clues that are in the visual language of the show that let you know time has passed, things have transpired. When I first saw it, I don't think I knew it was 6 years specifically, but I knew time had gone by. And so I kind of think that it won't just feel like it's the next day, and so I speculate that may have been why they've been hired, but for all I know, they were hired before the House of the Dragon work went down. I don't know. I don't totally know the backstory there. Well, but Bespin Bulletin also, I had 2 sources on it. I was like, okay, I'm feeling good about this. And then he's talking to one of his sources, and they drop it to him, and he's like, I got you a 3rd source. Okay. And I was like, thank you. Ready to go then. Let's do it.
That's excellent. So yeah, we've got Ahsoka's like a 2-part, right? Part 1 is maybe overlaps with Mandalorian to some degree. Part 2 happens some other time, other place.
And somewhere basically at the end of episode 4 or the start of episode 5, you're going to have that moment from Rebels.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. From post
of her in the white cloak, and Sabine's like,
very good.
I could have went and saved my friend, but I was painting this really sweet picture of us instead. That scene, what will be in there? Yeah,
nice. Ahsoka the White showing up there to pick up
I think they just call her Whitey. I think they just call her Whitey in this one.
That's exciting to see that though.
Exciting Whitey is what they call it.
And I really want to see how she goes from Ahsoka the Gray to Ahsoka the White, or if even that's a thing. Maybe it's just she changed clothes.
Yeah, you just made that up. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she just puts on a white cloak and's like, let's go to space.
Let's go. Well, in Star Wars,
I kind of think that's what it is, but
they typically wear the same clothes all the time, right? Who needs to change clothes? We just wear the same stuff. But it would be great if there's a story behind it, like she's elevated to another level, right? Like, so she's powered up, and then you get Ahsoka the White.
I almost feel like in just in terms of visual language, they're kind of juxtaposing her with Morgan Elsbeth as the evil witch and the good witch. They're kind of, I think they're sort of a good witch, evil witch with shoguns. With shoguns. That's what this is. It's weird. I like it though. I like what I'm hearing.
Seth asks or says, part 1 gonna explain where she was during the OT? I don't think so. I would guess no.
No, what I say in the article, what I put in the article is that part 1 is dealing with the New Republic in Sabine. What's going on there? I still got some ambiguity about some things, so I don't want to overspeak. But by the end of part 1, they're like, let's go get our boy.
All right. A couple more articles. We've got.
And guess what? I got all the time in the world now because they can't come until 4 o'clock because the compressor broke. So I got as long as you're good, I'm good because I'm cursed. So as long as your show doesn't break.
I've got code to get written, so I've got to. I can't go all day. I wish it could.
Bro code. Bro code. Hey, you don't do that. That's the bro code, dude.
Yeah. Is this a number? Is it a valid number? Is it too long? Too short? Maybe you input a bunch of characters, or did you put in too many characters? Well, you uploaded that Excel sheet. Was a date really a date, or did you put some other nonsense in there? That's what I get to do. It sucks, but anyway, that's what I get. So this is what we're doing.
All right.
But Genevieve, Mon Mothma is coming back in Mandalorian 3, Ahsoka, and Andor 2. Well, I would assume this one.
Yeah, I'm not trying to claim the Andor 2 as my thing, but I'm trying to show this. Like, O'Reilly is in everything.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, we would assume she was in Andor 2. She was in Andor. So Andor 2 makes sense.
Yeah, and once again, I just know she's in Andor 2. I just don't even like a thing. But I'm just like for the headline.
I get it. Follow with me.
Why are you picking on me, man? Why are you on my back, dude? I'll make the font bigger. Just leave me alone.
The point is Andor and Andor 2 happened before the original trilogy. Again, to help folks out who aren't necessarily following all these things and like, it's the same story. Well, no, not quite. Andor 2 is going to lead us right up until A New Hope. Yeah, it's going to lead us right up to that. So,
and for the record, I now have people on the respective productions who told me that she's on them, and I got somebody on Skeleton Crew also telling me, "Did you know?"
Boy,
yes, I did, but thank you for telling me. So I'm about as confident as I could be in the story right now without seeing it myself.
Excellent. So, Mandalorian season 3 is a good 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years after Return of the Jedi.
Right? Yeah, we're like at 6 or 7 right now, I think, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. So if Andor 2 happens before A New Hope and Mandalorian season 3 is, say, 7 years after Return of the Jedi, there's a bit of a gap, right? The time period of the original trilogy in there as well. So you got Genevieve playing Mon Mothma. Season 1 of Andor was 5 years before.
Yeah, we got like Mon Mothma with My Family's Dumb, and then we got Mon Mothma. Now I'm the president. What?
Yeah. So if we say 5 years before A New Hope, where we started with Genevieve in Andor 1, all the way up through, and then after, and Rural Farm Boy says it's 11 years after Return of the Jedi.
So we are at 11. I mean,
I didn't think we were that far.
So Farm Boy isn't necessarily wrong, depending on which exhausted Jon Favreau quote you decide to pull.
Right.
And I'm of the opinion that we're really at like 7 or 8 when all is said and done, unless it's inconvenient. That's what I'm going to say. But until they put it in like a source book and we're really clear about it. But we'll meet him in the middle. We'll say 7 to 11 years.
Yeah. I agree with you, by the way. I think, and afterwards, I think Dave Filoni said, "Oh, we've still got like 30 years to fill," or something like that. So there's still time.
Yeah.
In any way,
right.
As you say, until we get that source book, we won't know. My point is, there's a time gap here, probably close to 15 years before season 1 to the end of Mandalorian 3. Ahsoka is going to overlap a bit, I would say, with Mando somewhere into post Mando. Do you think?
I will talk about that soon. I'm working on that.
There's some connection there. We're in the time.
Yes, for sure.
And then we'll see where it goes from there. So we've got a span of Mon Mothma's career that Genevieve's covering, and she may not look the same, I would think, from Andor 2 to Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. We may have to do some aging.
That's where I would go like, yeah, but then when I look at Hayden Christensen at 43 years old, supposed to being 19 in Kenobi, I don't know if they know what that means anymore. I think if it's not a digital person, they're just like, yep, he's younger now.
Bo's age in Mando, yeah, she's late 40s, as old as 50. 47 to 50 is a good guess. And Mando Din is roughly 40, give or take. So yeah, that's where we are with those two. But anyway, we're going to see Mon Mothma. Lots of Mon Mothma.
Lots of Mon Mothma.
Sets up where we were, and it sort of doesn't surprise me in Mandalorian season 3 to see Mon Mothma. In fact, I think we could have seen her already, except we didn't. So if they're doing the world building that we were talking about earlier, and setting up how she's demilitarizing and leading the New Republic, and we've got all these problems in the New Republic, Mon Mothma should be involved in that world building. And they've got a lot of work to do. All right. They've got
That's who it is.
Bespin Bulletin. Hello, my friend.
What's happening, guys? Just had the link from Jason. I was like, well, he needs reinforcements. So I've got to show up.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're just getting ready to go back to your next article here. And so it's a very good timing. In fact, now would be a good time to do that. Unless you want to mention anything about Genevieve before we go on to the respawn.
No, I think Jason nailed it. So
good. So since we've got you here,
hey Bespin, how do you get that font so big, bro? Like you've been working it out? Like how do you do it? Like how's it? It's really robust. There's girth to it. I keep trying and it's little tiny text no matter what I do.
You'll have to text Pepe. You'll have to find out. I don't know anything.
Go on. Sorry.
It seems like a one-man operation, but it's actually two of us. So.
There you go. So what's going on at Respawn?
There's job listings posted on LinkedIn by Respawn, the Seattle-based studio. There's multiple studios in Respawn. Obviously, the guys who's doing Survivor, you've got the guys doing Apex Legends, and now this is Seattle-based one. I think there might even be another. I'm not sure. But yeah, in the listings specifically, they mentioned that the upcoming first-person shooter game that they have, which is single-player only and story-driven, is taking inspiration from the classic 90s Star Wars games, Dark Forces and Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, which I'm sure will excite many Star Wars fans. I'm a bit young to have played those. One of those games came out the year I was born, so I was not playing it.
I played them, and I don't really get how it's actually relevant in 2023. To be honest with you, like I think it's like a Spirit of thing because it's like they're just first person shooters. Yeah, right? it's like just like a first person Doom style shooter, and like how in this day and age though, Call of Duty and you know what I mean, like Fortnite, all of the stuff. Like how is that more? I'm curious as to how that's more relevant than Halo today.
Yeah, but they also said that some people claim that a Fallen Order was Force Unleashed-esque as well,
Mm-hmm.
So that probably was a bit of an inspiration there. Obviously, it took an inspiration from many other games, like Sekiro and Castlevania and whatnot. But again, it's just an inspiration. Doesn't mean it's going to play exactly like those games.
Sure.
It's just harkening back to, I don't know, the start of it all, really, with those first-person shooters for Star Wars.
I hope the source of this was good.
Yeah, that was funny. People were tweeting me that yesterday, and I was like, "Yeah, Respawn, yeah."
It's like literally from the horse's mouth. It's from the company. This is like as official as you can get, and people are like, "I hope it's accurate." It's like what?
Well, I also saw they're using Unreal Engine 5, and which I want to believe like HBO's series. What was the one made off the video game Halo? Halo looked like it was shot using Unreal Engine 5. Like I was watching that series, I'm like, this looks like it's Unreal Engine. It doesn't even look like studio quality stuff. If they're just doing it on Unreal Engine, it gives you at least a concept for people who may not be familiar with Unreal Engine 5.
Well,
watch Halo. It looks like it's the same thing.
Well, we were talking to Rob yesterday about it, right? And apparently Unreal Engine 5 currently isn't in a great place. Is that what he was saying?
I think so. But he's a negative Nancy, so he says that about a lot of things.
It's not. I try to avoid that. I don't need the ire of Rob on taking me out on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, he never blames me. He blames everybody else. So it's
he blames
deal with
me
it.
all the time.
Deal with
it. But it just gives you an idea of the graphics. Like if you watch Halo, they're pretty good, but for a game to have that kind of quality, that it could be.
He answered. He says it's not optimized yet for 30 FPS on consoles, let alone 60 FPS. But Respawn are tech quizzards, which is a message from Q. Everybody read into it. Quizzards.
Ocnosouls, 30 on Ocnosouls. I don't know what Ocnosouls are, but
Yeah, you wouldn't. But we all know it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing in our video games that we play with. It's pretty cool. It's next gen. You wouldn't understand.
Okay.
Well, Respawn are familiar with Unreal Engine anyway. The Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor both use Unreal Engine 4. So it's just an upgrade on what we already get.
Excellent. This episode is sponsored by the letter Q, like Sesame Street, right? And okay, very good. Anything else on when this project's coming?
Probably years away. Rob was insightful regarding this because obviously his past work. Rob is of the opinion it's probably at least 3 years away, which is probably true. And between that time, we are supposed to get other Star Wars games, so we won't be in a drought, so to speak. Excellent. And I can wait for this one. This again is Respawn. They're a very talented studio. I've loved the projects they've put out so far. So not just in in the Star Wars universe, but in general. So I'm happy to wait, and I think it'll be a good product.
Very good. I want to cover these 3 stories that we already talked about. One of your stories today from the hot mic last night. You pulled it in these stories. Good job, by the way.
Yeah, good job.
I'm sure
good job. I stayed up till 4 a.m. doing it.
Well, it's fantastic. But you gave a really good statistic the other day about how many people had read your site versus how many times it had been tweeted?
Yeah, it was viewed over 4 million times, and it was viewed 10,000 times.
So we had 10,000 people actually read it,
Yeah,
and over 4 million tweets, or
4 million views on the day. Yeah, like
yeah,
it was terrible.
It's crazy. So I can only imagine what these are going to do, especially the one that's on the left here. I can only imagine what's going to happen with this story as we go forward. So the first one I think is pretty minor, really. David Gordon Green, who's involved with the Halloween franchise, was reportedly rumored to be perhaps doing a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, according to Jeff Snyder, Gordon Green, who did the most recent Halloween trilogy, to mixed results, to say the least, was developing a Star Wars movie up until the time Halloween Kills, which is the second within that trilogy, released. And following its release, it became a bit of a non-starter, which isn't a surprise because Halloween Kills was dreadful. So, yeah, it's probably a good thing he isn't doing this, because that Halloween trilogy wasn't good. This Exorcist trilogy that he's apparently doing also isn't very good. So we probably dodged one there, I'd say.
Yeah, and there weren't really rumors of this, right? This is the first I'm hearing of it, and he's already gone, right?
Yeah, he's already gone. But again, this is a common practice in Hollywood. It's a common practice for Lucasfilm as well. You assume that they probably have multiple writers and creators doing something in the background that we don't even know about.
Yeah. At one point, somebody told me that there were like 7 drafts in various stages of things being worked on, and like I don't think we ever heard of any of them. And I believe the person. So they go out there, they just hire, they give, here's $30,000, go write us a draft, and they take it or they don't.
Yeah, you can look at it as in J.D. Dillard and Matt Owens were supposed to do a movie. It came out start of 2020, I believe, through the trades. At the time, the trades didn't know if it was just to go to the theaters or if it was just a Disney Plus movie, but they were working on a TIE Fighter inspired project, which never came to fruition, never saw the light of day. And it's funny because Patty Jenkins at the same time was developing a Rogue Squadron movie. So they clearly, Lucasfilm at some point wanted a movie based on fighter pilots.
Yeah, I'm guessing, but I feel like it was contingent upon the X-Wing movie being made, that the TIE movie or show or whatever it was would happen. And then when that fell through, that probably got. But man, what was that movie he did? The one that's on, I think it's on Apple. The
Devotion.
Devotion. I wanted to look. Paramount movie. Yeah, I wanted to like that movie, and it was just plotting. I was like,
yeah, I thought it was like average.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a disappointment because I think some of his other movies as well, such as Sweetheart, and I can't remember what the other one was, but they weren't particularly amazing either. So it's not like like I said, I think Damon Lindelof is a top talent. It's a shame what he's not carrying on.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be disappointed with no J.D. Dillard or Gordon Green. So
yeah.
So we kind of thought that they would continue to announce Lindelof's movie, which is now who's the new writer on that?
Stephen Knight.
The Knight Rider. That's what we call him around here. We call him Knight Rider. Comes in at night, fixes your script, goes on to the next project like it's no thing.
Stephen Knight, the middle leg of our relay team, a writer relay team for the movie. We expect that movie to be.
Sounds like you're calling him a dick, but okay.
That one doesn't surprise me. The other two that they would announce 3 seems a little risky, only because of their track record, right? Like, at this point, I don't know how many people feel confident that the first one's going to happen. Why would you announce even the other 2?
Well, I think I did write it in the article. I think we already know who the other 2 are. I think it's Taika Waititi and Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Sean Levy has never been formally announced, even though he has confirmed his involvement on Twitter and in various interviews towards the tail end of last year. I think that's who we're going to get. One of them will get a 2027 release date, which is already out there. It's announced, right? Lucasfilm reserved a date in December 2027. And if they follow in 2 years, the other one will get a 2029 release date.
And like
Sean Levy.
People... Sorry, Bespin, go on.
I was like, Sean Levy, he's currently about to start shooting Deadpool 3, and he said he wouldn't focus on the Star Wars project until that film had wrapped and released, which doesn't release until November 2024. So he won't start work on his Star Wars movie probably till the start of 2025. So he's probably the furthest out. Taika has been working on a Star Wars movie at this point for 3 years. By the time 2027 rolls around, Taika would have been working on it for 7.
Okay. All right. Well, it'd be good to get an update, maybe get something more. The only thing we saw on Taika's before was this weird looking Star Wars logo, right? We knew nothing about it.
I think that was a red herring. I think it was a ruse. It was just a piece of, they just pulled it out
give us any synopsis or anything. So people were trying to read into it and make things up out. Oh, this crack is sort of like shaped like an S. So maybe, I don't, whatever. You know?
I think Stephen Knight usually writes stories about men who don't fit into society. That's his, and I'm not saying it's going to be all about men, but people, and Star Wars will be people.
Again,
and
going off of what Jason's saying, he was at one point going to write a Superman movie, which ties into that.
And yeah, him wanting to do like the tentpole stuff, especially. But if he goes into that thing, you have this person who doesn't fit in. It's this kind of groups of people, and so I wouldn't be surprised if this first story, in some ways, either directly or indirectly, spawns the other stories, because they've known what Taika's thing is going to be, or what he's handed in a draft before. So they know, like, it's the adventures of Stu or whatever it happens to be, and so like they could put Stu in this. Stu could be an emerging character who's in it or whatever. And I think so. I think all of it will eventually sort of flow in a way that makes sense.
Are you thinking the 3 movies tie together? Is that what you're trying to say?
They're all in the same era, so why wouldn't they?
Well,
okay. I don't know if what's his name. I don't know if
that they're not tied in the same era.
No. That's no. Taika's is in episode 9 territory.
Okay.
I don't think they said. They just said it wasn't connected to the Skywalker saga, which could be before, could be after, could be wherever.
Yeah.
And Taika is supposedly going to star in his own movie.
And I don't know if that's gotten out of hand. Like, is he like the lead and starring, or is he just
I doubt it
in it?
Nah, he might just show up in it. But
yeah.
The early speculation was that Taika's movie was going to go way, 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 way back, like before the Old Republic, like way back.
You guys just thought that because you guys saw the Ben-Hur poster. Yeah. The Ben-Hur homage.
Well, there was
has
more than
nothing
that.
to.
I think,
but that's what it is. No, but that Star Wars theory thinks that speculation is a theory. Once again, we're back to that. That isn't ancient. Though I would love to be wrong, but I'm not.
Well,
it's Ben-Hur. It's Ben-Hur because
more than just the logo. There was an obelisk or something like in the
concept art.
The concept art, yeah.
So he picked up on that may have gone back. So I'm just saying the speculation was wild out there, and to reset that speculation that it's going to be in
episode 9,
the sequel era, post-sequel era, then that is a reset of expectation. That's all I'm trying to get to.
Right? Yeah, but that's just people not understanding that the Ben-Hur thing doesn't mean back in time for Star Wars. What is Ben-Hur? I think that's the most telling thing. And I think that they will, if they announce Taika, they can't just say, Taika Waititi, you know what it'll be? It won't be. It'll be. Because we've already heard it. So they're going to have to go, and they're going to have to give us a title or a premise.
Yes. Yeah,
they've announced Taika twice, by the way.
They've announced Taika twice. You can't announce Taika 3 times.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning quickly that when they were developing the Taika movie initially, it was being crafted as a standalone story, as was Patty Jenkins' movie and Kevin Feige's. Where the plans have changed now, maybe they will connect, because like initial reports about Lindelof's movie was that it would spawn a series of sequels if successful. So maybe the plans have changed with Taika's movie. Maybe it isn't a quote standalone. Maybe it will tie into the other things. Maybe that's why it's taken so long to get off the ground for Taika. We'll see. I do think we'll find out more about it at Celebration.
I hope so. I hope, because it would be weird if they announced 3 films. If the Snyder thing was correct, they announced 3 films, and 2 of them aren't Taika or the Sean Levy one. That would be strange.
Oh, that'd be big news. And I agree. It feels risky now. Like I don't trust them. I think
I don't trust them either.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. And then there's this piece. Here's a concerning thing, not a concerning thing, right?
It's a weird quote. Yeah.
I like it. I like it though, right? It didn't surprise me whatsoever when I heard it. I've heard from a good source, and this isn't Bespin saying this. This is
Snyder
saying it, right? I've heard from a good source that Ravenwood Indiana Jones series is dead. Now, if they kill Willow and they kill Indiana Jones, and it goes on to say, I'm told Disney told Lucasfilm, you're only making Star Wars stuff from now on. Wow. I mean,
if Indiana Jones is a massive success, like, do you really think they won't do an Indiana Jones thing?
Right.
Like,
right.
I just think they've been told, hey, for now, currently, maybe the next year or so, just develop Star Wars things because we know they sell. They know they get us Disney Plus subscribers.
And when we've already heard that they're going through austere measures, like that's the mode that they're in right now. So you don't.
Yeah, they're trying to save money. Yeah. Like,
well, they're not alone. I want to say that, like, my real job, my day job, the thing that I do to pay the bills,
being Santa Claus around the world, living in the North Pole.
Programming. Look at what's happened. Look at what's happened at Microsoft, and look what's happened at other big Amazon, Apple. Like, there have been massive amounts of tech layoffs.
Yeah, across
the industry. So there are lots of people that do what I do, looking for jobs. There's lots of jobs available too, but just saying, there's been some belt tightening in lots of places, and it's not unique to only what's going on with the film studios, and it's not unique to Disney Studios, not unique to Lucasfilm or Marvel or anybody else. Like, as comparisons go, Disney is doing as well as anybody, better than some, my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Willow was terrible, and it didn't perform, and they made bad choices, and then it didn't give them any rewards. But Indiana Jones, I think with the Indiana Jones stuff, it's like let's wait and see. But also, why would you go and develop a Ravenwood series when Short Round is like the hottest thing right now, and you won an Academy Award, and everybody wants that? If they aren't listening to everybody about that, they're crazy.
We've been banging this drum of Ke Huy Quan for like a while before he won the awards. And,
I don't care about awards.
To me, that seems like a no-brainer. If you want to continue the Indiana Jones franchise, just give it a Short Round. You know, that'll be a successful Disney Plus series.
I agree. Let's come over here, because this is the one I think that will get lots of tweets and topic discussions. New rumor claims Kennedy's role at Lucasfilm depends on releasing a movie in 2025. Again, this is rumor, and it came off of the same show, The Hot Mic, last night.
I really milked it. Yeah, I really milked Jeff Snyder last night. That's all that could be taken wrong. I did not milk Jeff Snyder in that way, but
you heard it here. Bespin milk Jeff Snyder.
I'm not that desperate for scoops. It's all good. It's all good.
He kind of said it. You did get 4 stories out of it, though, right?
At what cost, Santa? At what cost?
That's true. It was a very high price you paid for that. They said it sounds like Kennedy has a track record of making decisions in a vacuum. This goes back to the other story about hiring the director without consulting with Lindelof, right? It says when Charmian was hired, it seemed like a random choice for an important movie. Blah, blah, blah. When you keep going about that, whatever, right? But down here it says, I'm told that Kathleen Kennedy's job depends on getting a movie released by Christmas Day 2025. There's a new movie out. There's no job. What?
I think that's heavy-handed.
That's
I
not
think
what
it's
I've heard.
I think it's correct. I think it's ultimately correct, but it's like they agreed. Like I was saying before, Hell or High Water, that 2025 movie is coming out. Like that's going to be a thing. So it would literally, like, if it didn't come out, it would be Kathleen Kennedy going like, I just refuse. Like I'm just going rogue. So it's like it's not wrong, but I think the way it's put is a bit. I think the angle on it is a bit sensational.
Well, let's get back to. There's a story that's been out in the universe.
The bullshit verse.
I'm trying to think of the right word.
Is this the Campia story that he's going to?
Campia didn't get the story. Campia is reporting it from somebody else. And the first time he said it, he got it from the other guy who makes up all the stories. I don't like to say his name. The reason I don't like to say his name is because twofold. One, it gives him credit that I don't want him to get. I don't want him anywhere close to my channel. The other is there are people who believe this fool, and they come on here. I've lost subscribers, and I've gotten kind of hateful comments on my content when I have mentioned his name in that context. The dude that is putting this stuff out is a complete troll. He's trusted by too much of the fandom, and he makes his way around all kinds of different channels.
He's an idiot. He said Acolyte's not going to film when it's like almost like done. It's like it's like really far into it. It's like way over halfway done. He's like, they're not going to make it.
He is the single source of so many bad stories that make the rounds as if they're true. And this is one of his stories.
I'll say his name, Rob.
I also blame Rob for last night. Like, he's just put in the comments that he manifested that. Like, why? Why did you make me do that?
Yeah, he admitted it. It was me.
Why are we always manifesting? Why aren't we woman-festing? Think about it. Maybe you're sexist, Rob.
Well, when Campia first reported it, and the source he got it from was a news site that quoted this guy in the context of it. And as soon as I saw this guy's name in there, I'm like,
that's still. I'm gonna pick on Campia for a second though. When you cite a bad source, that's on you. I've cited bad sources, and it's been on me.
Yeah,
and that happens.
So what he's done is he's given this guy more legs.
Yeah,
and I don't want him to have any legs. I'm just not going to do it.
He's got legs though, and he knows how to use them.
He's absolutely terrible for this fandom, and we talk about him in Discord and private chats quite a bit. But in any of it, this dude came out and said Kathleen Kennedy has at most 18 months left. Once Indiana Jones 5 comes out, within a short amount of time after that, she's going to be leaving Lucasfilm. And now that time, that clock has been ticking. And now it's like a year. People are saying within a year.
He's saying somebody at 71 years old will eventually be leaving the company.
Also,
you think?
Also, Kathy's current contract ends at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So she takes an extension. She takes an extension.
And Indiana Jones comes out June 30th of this summer.
Yeah.
Somebody asked.
So Jeff Snyder says 2025. Well, I'm not a smart man. But that seems like it's more than 18 months from now, and certainly more than 12.
But it depends. So this 2025 movie is supposed to go in production by February of next year. So if the film doesn't go into production, then it would happen earlier, because if it's not filmed by, say, the summer of 2024, chances are that movie is not hitting this December 2025 release date. So there's something to watch. But like Jason said, it's hell or high water. Like a movie will get made. Like,
it could be bad.
Straight from Lindelof
could be good.
It could be bad. Yeah, they've gone straight from Lindelof to Stephen Knight. They've kept the director on board, which is a good thing because she knows the vision of the story and the movie, what it needs to be. That'll help Stephen Knight get through it as well. So, yeah, it's worth keeping an eye on. But again, Jason said she's a 70-year-old woman, retirement. She probably wants to enjoy retirement to some degree, you'd imagine. And yeah, if she does step away, I think it'll be on her own accord. I don't think she'd get fired, but she needs to deliver this movie, it seems, by like all accounts anyway. So.
I'll say this source, there's two things now that have time clocks on them. And one of them, Jason already talked about. Hey, this person specifically said that Acolyte was not going to get made. It had no budget. It's not going to see the light of day. It's one of Kathleen's pet projects, and all her projects are being canceled.
We're on a show right now with the guy who has drone footage from the sets, who's been to the sets.
Yeah, I've literally been on the Acolyte set. Yeah, that's true.
So we're here to say the guy's a fool. The guy's a fool.
Yeah. One time he did magic and remote viewing to try to spy on Kathleen Kennedy a couple years ago, and using his magic, he saw that Jon Favreau was now sitting in her desk. I mean, I'm going to say if he was really using magic, maybe he was just looking for some cookies, but because he never got the job, and it's been several years.
It's something that annoys me every time I see him quoted in an article or a guest host on a show. Like, and he comes and releases information into the fandom that is accepted as true, and it's not. And this one he put down with the Acolyte is absolutely verifiably wrong. And when it's airing on the network, he's going to be made a complete and utter fool that he is. Because, as you said, our friend Bespin, who's with us right now, has been on that set.
But I want both of you to promise me when Kathleen Kennedy does leave, we need to congratulate him on his scoop. You guys both owe him that, at least.
That's the other story. So the other story is 18 months. If she is still president of Lucasfilm in 2025, which this at least quote here seems to
right, but
Snyder kind of seems to allude to, then that's another huge loss for this dude, and people need to quit listening.
But they don't care. They know it's fake. They know he doesn't have magic, and they don't care about the reality. They have this idea behind chaos magic and manifesting things. If we all say it and we agree, then it's true. That's not how reality works, but that's what they believe. And so they just think that they could keep saying this is the way it is, and then that's the way it is, but it's just not. And but I really do think this will probably be Kathleen Kennedy's last round of movies, probably, because by the time we see these movies through, she will be over 75 years old. And maybe she's going to be one of those people who stays until they're 80, but I don't know if anybody does that. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. And so I would kind of imagine that this will be her last slew of films. This last of at least at this size. Maybe she'll go on to produce some more chilled out, independent films or something for like a studio somewhere else. But I don't these tentpole Star Wars, the huge productions. I'm not sure how many more she'll be down for it coming. You know what I mean? I could be wrong.
Let me be clear on this. It's not Campia. He's not the source. It's not Theory. He's not the source. It's not Josh Lucas at Den of Nerds.
No, but they're reporting him, so they're culpable. At the end of the day, if somebody comes to me and goes, Kathleen Kennedy got fired, I could go run the store and get a bunch of hits today, but that makes me a shitty editor. And the way that they edit their content is crap. That's why they keep pushing this stupid thing, because they know that half of the people who follow Star Wars want wrestling and not reality.
It's not Mike Zero either. Not Mike Zero.
No, Mike Zero is the best internet scooper of our generation.
No,
I mean, he inspired me to get into this.
I want to say this on the air because I am just an old fat dude sitting in a basement in Central Ohio. And Bespin Bulletin and Jason Ward are legit like scoopers. They're out there working, getting the real information and actually publishing things that have some veracity to them that should be the go-to for everybody. And it's why we spent almost 2 hours today talking on Bespin Bulletin and making Star Wars. And to have you two spend some time with me is amazing. So I can't thank you both enough for donating some of your time to me. Thank you.
I've got a good Christmas present this year. I'm excited now.
You should. Jason takes a little bit of a hit because he hangs out too much with Rob. But other than that,
yeah, it's true. That's fair. That's fair.
I've got a Mike Porter dad joke, and then we can let you guys wrap it up. It says, what did one of the Bad Batch members call his Bacta tank?
Bad? I don't know.
The echo chamber.
You did it again, Mike Porter. Just when I thought you were over the hill, you jumped right back on the top.
He does a great job. I appreciate it. Anything else, you guys? As we close out, we're coming up on top of 2 hours, and I've got to get back to work. But anything else newsworthy you'd like to talk about before we close out?
Monday, I think I'm going to have something on the witches.
Ooh,
so next time we meet, we'll be talking about witches.
Excellent.
Magic. With a K. Not the fake kind that you remote view Kathleen Kennedy's office with, like the other fake kind that you just make up in a story. But
excellent. Bespin, you working on anything that you can give us a general idea about?
Himself.
Yeah, I'm working on myself. That's a long process.
Sorry, I can't be your boyfriend working on me right now.
No, Jason knows there's a couple of things I'm working on. One really is, well, two could be a race against time more than anything.
You need to get on it.
Need to get on it. I'm just trying to find out more information on certain things. But one could be Mando related. One could be something completely different. So we'll see. But hopefully next week, maybe.
Ryan says, you're a scooper, right? You got Bad Batch leaks, right?
Yeah, you did. You did.
I did get some information.
Bad Batch season 2. Season 3.
Season 3. I heard that, and then I accidentally said it out loud. I shouldn't have done that, but and I've actually been contacted. You weren't supposed to say it. I'm sorry. It's no big deal. I think everybody can guess that was probably happening anyway. It is not the kind of news story that's going to get people fired, but there was other things that I've shared with Jason, and he's been able to go and run with. So there's some of that too. So
it takes a village.
It does. All right.
Ewok village.
That's all I got for today, you guys. I got to go. I got to get some lunch, and I got to get back to coding.
Get to work.
Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you guys are following Bespin Bulletin, the Bob podcast, and all that stuff. And, of course, makingstarwars.net. Jason Ward, EIC.
EIC, baby.
and by the way,
Editor-in-Chief Chirpa.
This live stream is available on YouTube Music as a podcast. Not only that, but I download every day yesterday's live stream and upload it to Spotify. So if you'd like to find us over on Spotify, you've missed a show, you'd like to listen to it while you're doing your podcasting, you can catch this show over on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, a great weekend.
Bye.
And we'll talk to you later. All right.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye. Until next time, my friends. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.